Okay, everybody, I think we'll get started now. Thank you very much once again for attending tonight's webinar with Dr. Cody Mugleston and TRI Dental Implants. My name is Chris Luter and the current president for TRI USA. Really proud to introduce a very close colleague, friend, an amazing implant dentist, Dr. Cody Mugleston. Dr. Mugleston currently resides out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He went to school at my alma mater at the University of Arizona for undergraduate, attended UNLV Dental School, currently has been a key owner doctor for the last 13 years at Pacific Dental Services. For those of you maybe new to Pacific Dental Services, otherwise known as PDS, roughly 1,000 location, very elite DSO in the United States. And he currently owns over 20 practices. Implementing new technology and innovation is certainly not new to you, Dr. Mugleston. You've always been an early pioneer, a very key in advancing implantology throughout all of Pacific Dental Services. You're one of the top owner doctors throughout PDS. The current CEO, Stephen Thorne, is actually your patient in your practice and someone amongst your entire network many people look up to you. You've been a key member of Sprint Ray's Clinical Advisory Board. Once again, one of the top owner dentists for implantology testing, and you've worked with, dozens of restorative implant systems. You've placed Noble Biocare for years, Straumann, Neodent dental implants, and have now transitioned your 20 locations over to TRI Dental Implants. So we're all very excited to hear your experience and the workflows, and certainly the ease of use of implementing this across your network. And before I turn it over to Dr. Mugleston, I'd like to give you all a quick overview of who we are, what we're doing differently, and a little bit about our brand. I also apologize a little bit for some congestion here in my throat, so I apologize if I'm maybe clearing my throat a little bit, just under the weather slightly. But please also feel free to ask any questions in the chat, and we will definitely answer those after this webinar with Dr. Cody Mugleston. So many of you who maybe do not know who TRI is, we are actually not a new implant company. We've been out now, this is year 12 in inception. We are in 49 countries, and this is year 2 for us in the United States. Last year, we launched at a very accelerated rate. And this is really our coming out year in terms of adoption and in terms of scaling, investing in the US business and growing the brand significantly. We onboard dozens of doctors every week, and we believe we're the most explosive brand in implant dentistry because we are the only one of its kind that eliminates abutments, has a full digital workflow, and really, as the core 4 pillars here, as you see here, we think very digital, way the US business of implantology has been over the last probably decade, where digitalization continues to improve in dental practices. We're manufactured in Switzerland of the highest quality. And as I mentioned before, we believe this is the most simplistic workflow working with our implants. Our CEO, Tobias Richer, also comes with a very explosive, innovative entrepreneur mindset. He started the company Implant Direct the same day with Jerry Niznik, sold it the same day as with Dr. Niznik, and 12 years now, has been the head of TRI globally. So we know what abutments do today. They certainly have positive outcomes for us as they correct our implant angulations for prosthetic outcomes. They also, every implant system, you need an abutment in place because it carries a mechanical load. So our arches, our bridges, our single unit implant crowns don't fracture. And we also certainly know on these all on X, all on 4 cases, working at the abutment level up from an MUA standpoint is nice and easy because we see everything. However, we do know that abutments, they do come with complications. From a single unit perspective, we have seen the world predominantly shift to custom abutments where they're titanium bases in the middle of your crown. We do know at times they've come debonded. We do know that laboratories select wrong heights of titanium bases at times, and certainly those cause complications. It's been a pleasure to see over my 20-year run in implant dentistry that less and less cement retained implant restorations are taking place. But we do know that excess cement causes implant failures. We see a lot of it because we are also a design company here at TRI. We see wrong selections of multi-units that are used in other cases without TRI from straight to 17 degrees to 30s to now 45 degrees to even some cases 60-degree MUAs. All those different heights that come into place, and there are wrong selections being used that complicate these all-in-X cases. We do know we need to leave room for our arches and our occlusal space. That requires bone reduction. So if we can reduce bone reduction, that would certainly be a benefit for these cases. We've seen a major shift of Rosen screws, desk screws, Powerball screws, you name it. There's a lot of different versions floating out there. These do come loose. And once again, we'll talk about how our 2.8 bolt screw is very innovative, where we claim in our studies zero screw loosening. And certainly we know implant dentistry is not it's not getting less expensive, it's increasing. So we can reduce a lot of the componentry and certainly add to our bottom line. That's a really positive aspect as we treat more patients. We know in full mouth reconstructive cases, we see a little bit more less and less due to some proper case planning with digitalization. But we do see from time to time, as a patient gets a full mouth reconstruction, they lift their lip line up and they see an MUA. I think we can all agree here that if we could avoid that, that's certainly a positive aesthetic outcome. And here's the middle picture here of single unit titanium bases that have debonded. Once again, that's an added lab cost. Once again, that is certainly bringing patients back in. That's chair time. And if we can avoid that, again, that's a benefit in the workflow. So what we're doing very differently here is with TRI, where, as I mentioned, we're eliminating abutments altogether. This is now possible due to digitalization, due to advancements in implant dentistry. We know scanners are certainly more accurate. My time at Sprint Ray as a vice president of sales, we've seen resins certainly develop incredible over a very short time. Multiple generations of Onyx Tough have been already out, and we see significant strength and very high aesthetic restorations from 3D printing. We see mills today. My time at Strama Group and as a key executive launching the company Neodent when no one used it in the U.S. market. A key strategy was certainly putting laboratories in offices to control costs, control workflows, and they were very limited at the time due to milling divergences. Today, as I'll show later in my presentation, we can mill up to 70 degrees divergence with a zirconia restoration right to the interface and a stronger mechanical restoration than abutments. So this implant is now possible due to modern technology advancements. Something key that our milling center has also informed me, we do see a lot of abutment restorations that show metal and gleaming through, a zirconia restoration. That's certainly a problem, and if we can avoid that, I think that's a positive step here for restorative dentistry. Also, as Dr. Mugleston will say, there's less patient visits, it's faster time to teeth, and again, a very big advantage here with the TRI system. I'm gonna quickly show you an animation here about how this is a reverse engineer of a 20-degree beveled conical connection. This is a zero bone loss concept implant. We know in the zip bridge study, if you were to Google that term, the most common indicator for crestal bone loss to the first thread is micromovement in abutments. So if we can avoid the abutment altogether, not micromoving onto your implant, avoiding cement, avoiding a titanium base, having more surface area, reverse engineering that interface, coupled with this bolt screw that's double the thickness, you will see that this is mechanically stronger than your abutment and highly aesthetic. And I'll show you this of how the tensile forces are all put on this 2.8 bolt screw and not in your restoration. So again, once again, you get the benefits of a conical connection implant with a zero bone loss concept implant, perfectly engineering beautiful zirconia to titanium that's stronger than, again, your abutment level restorations. A key element for TRI, which makes us very different, is our 8 integrated apps that work seamlessly with our implant system that are at no charge when you use the TRI system, matrix implant. I'm going to quickly touch on the Scan and Smile in 1 hour. I will then move to the digital healing collar library that's great for your posterior single tooth restorations. We'll talk about fixed full arches and the world of photogrammetry and the world without photogrammetry. We'll also touch on one of the most competitive and explosive offerings, which is our tooth in a box or arch in a box. I also mentioned to you all, we are also a design company. However, we're also fully open. So if you choose to want to use your own designer that's in-house or when your key maybe designers at your laboratory, completely fine. However, we offer that service right for you. If you happen to have your own in-office mill, no problem there. We onboard your mill to be able to reverse engineer the interface. And we believe we have some key competitive options. So first, like I mentioned, I'm going to talk about this scan and smile in 1 hour. So this will be your single tooth dental implants bicuspid forward in the aesthetic zone. We know that today, most likely your patient leaves with either a flipper in place to provisionalize, maybe they leave with an Essex retainer template, or maybe one of the best options today, in my opinion, if you're using obviously abutment level restorations, you're using a temporary abutment, you certainly get a suck down shell. You have some Luxatemp on hand, A1, B1, whatever the shade may be. You flow acrylic to it, you light cure it, and then of course out of occlusion, you leave with a screw retained, perfectly designed tooth for that patient to leave. The tissue adheres to it nice. And in my personal opinion, that's the best way to provisionalize. However, you can do all three of those options, not disrupt your workflow today, and still do that with the TRI system. We do serve, we do have temporary abutments just in case if you were to still want to use those. However, we have what I call option 4 is your scan and smile in 1 hour case that I will show you that the competition or our competitors do not have today. My good friend Ryan Dunlop out of Fresno, California, full arch masters. This is his father-in-law's case. This is a typical case that comes presented probably in most cases to your clinic. Here we have a fractured tooth. What we're going to do here is we're going to extract that fractured tooth, and we get very high initial stability with our correct drilling protocols. We're going to insert our TRI matrix dental implant. So extraction immediate implant placement, and here we are going to either short or long. In this case, we use a long scan body directly to the interface. We'll scan it. Dr. Dunlop has his own designer on stand. However, if you don't have a designer like I mentioned, we'll be ready for you with a design for 20 for 20. When I mean 20 for 20, for $20, you get your design back in 20 minutes. Ready to send to your 3D printer. And here you will provisionalize a beautiful Onyx 2.0 sprint ray material. You will fabricate this all under 1 hour, secure it right to the tooth, and this is how your patient will leave. The key benefit is we will use the same STL because the anatomical profile of removing where a tooth should be for that tissue, you won't see any recession in most cases, and you will send right to our TRI milling center and have a beautiful fabricated tooth the next appointment after osseointegration. So we will simply remove that tooth, that temporary, the very next appointment for $110 zirconia restoration that's beautiful, and screw retain it right to the patient's implant. No cement, no titanium base, more surface area. And I love this slide, just being a past key Neodent executive. I would argue that this implant looks much better compared to the Neodent implant side by side. So this is something I believe everybody should be able to do in their practice. However, key to note that I'll share with you slightly later in this presentation here that if you do not have a printer, rest no fear. We will overnight you this printed tooth with overnight shipping fee included for $79, and you'll deliver this right to, you'll bring your patient back the next morning, and you can screw retain this tooth with a beautiful restoration. So the nice thing is we avoid those flippers, we avoid the Essex templates, we avoid the temporary abutments, and this is something I think we have a nice competitive advantage with our implant system. Now, quickly touching on the posterior restorations, working 10 years at Nobel, working 6 years at Neodent, we still see so many titanium, healing abutments in the posterior. You get close to a patient, and certainly I think it's we see titanium healing abutments as patients talk. So, and they're off the shelf, they're not customizable. So if we could provide these to you as an STL file, you 3D print in your office. Once again, if you don't have a 3D printer, don't worry, we send these to you free of charge. This is an anatomical customized tooth library for anteriors, premolars, upper molars, second molars, everything that should be anatomical for you and flow the way a typical healing abutment should be. As we're printing these in Onyx Tough, they can also be stained and glazed. So now we're delivering, I would argue, a better healing abutment that's free of charge that you can stain and glaze, and it looks like almost like a natural tooth healing during the provisional stage. And then we can see the way the tissue response looks. It's very aesthetically appealing for your posterior cases. So again, I think this is a great solution for posterior restorations. Quickly talking on X, this is where the magic happens, and I believe this will show some clarity of our divergence. And this implant is all possible due to our angulated screw channel that can be altered up to 30 degrees, so we don't have screw access holes coming out our facial. So as Dr. Mugleston will be showing you, we are a big fan of photogrammetry. We're compatible with PIC, we're compatible with Micromapper, we're compatible with iCam. However, if you do not have a photogrammetry unit, do not worry, we have you covered. Once again, this is a printable STL file. And again, if you don't have a printer, we will take care of you with these. Call it, this is, you insert your dental implants as you would for all next case. You insert long scam bodies in this case, right to the interface, and you click in seamlessly the scam bridge. And as you see below here, based on your AP spread, call it extra small, medium large, extra large, extra large, depending on your spread. You click these in seamlessly to the scam body, and this allows our traditional intraoral scanner to capture the exact positioning of your implants. Because once again, that's why we need photogrammetry today, is obviously to capture implant positioning to send to the design stage and stitch those files together to send to your 3D printer. So this is a great alternative. I like to call it OptiSplint on steroids. It's free of charge. It's highly accurate. We just did a wonderful case today with Dr. Bruce Smoller in Detroit. Used this. He actually has a PIC camera. However, we decided to still do this case with the scan bridge. So the beauty of all NX cases, there's no more Rosen screws. There's no more Powerball screws. No more multi-unit abutments. Guessing of should I put a 17 degree? Should I put a 30 degree on? As I mentioned, we can reduce less patient's bone, which is a huge advantage. We've quickly become the FP1 go-to implant. We've converted some of the largest all-NX clinics in the United States so far. High success, high accuracy, and we're very passionate about this treatment plan that changes lives. But I won't steal too much thunder. Dr. Mugleston, you'll be touching on this. This just quickly shows a Trios 5. It takes roughly 90 seconds on our scan bridge just to get to the design stage. I'll maybe just quickly pass this as you see, just for time purposes.
Way faster.
And that was all done in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
This was a case that our TRI milling center in Orange County, California, just fabricated for a dentist. I'm not the most proud about showing this case here in terms of maybe an aesthetic outcome here or an angulation standpoint, but I really want to show this just due to that TRI has no limits. This would be the equivalent of putting on a 70-degree MUA. We were able to restore this with no questions asked. Again, insert with our 2.8 bolt screw or angulated screw 2.6 right to the interface, and certainly millless. If this was done on any other implant system, it would be an unrestorable case. So this is also, rest assured that where you place your distal implants, we will be able to restore it for you, and certainly hope it doesn't go past 70 degrees, as that's certainly a challenge. This is a live weight test study that was done by Mr. Holger Kast, who's one of our CTOs at TRI. Very impactful, quick video here I'll show you. His name is on the patent for the Straumann bone level tapered implant he developed as a key engineer at Straumann, and he's been our engineer for many years at TRI and developed this implant. And many of you may ask, how are these crowns and bridges not fracturing? Again, once again, if it was done reverse engineer to any other implant, they certainly would fracture. The analogy I'll leave you with is, imagine going to the gas station. We all use unleaded gas, and we put diesel gas in our car. We know the engine won't take that. So this implant, and once again, the matrix is specifically designed to avoid abutments to carry the mechanical load. And here we're going to show you a quick video of double the amount of capacity that any human could bite down. So not 1x, but 2x.
This station where I will put a lot of weights on a crown, which we just have freshly cut, and we have a packaged tissue level matrix implant, and we have a 2.8 zirconia screw. And then we can go on 35 Newton centimeter. So then I have this cylinder and I place the implant in the cylinder on this ground. I'm going to add as much weight at least as we tested it in our official test. So that's the first 1.25 kilo, 7.5. This is the next 2.5 kilos, 25 kilos. Right now, we have 80 kilos, the maximum of any human can bite. So how is your bet? What do you think? How much more? 100 more? 150 kilos on one single crown, 165 kilos. Okay, to finish that, I will add all the kilos on it. 177, that's enough. Woo! I think that's amazing.
Pretty impressive here. I like to say that there's bite marks on this stainless steel, no breakage, single unit, 30-degree, non-splinted. Pretty impactful. We also have lots of independent studies, Harvard studies, university studies. I could probably wallpaper your whole office with scientific studies of strength and mechanics. But we, we see a lot of our studies with 1 billion chewing cycles simulated and next to no wear from zirconia titanium. As mentioned here, we are also a full design and our tooth in a box or arch in the box strategy here with our company. We're the only dental implant company in the United States that is a full root to tooth solution. We offer full arch design in 60 minutes for $250. We offer a single tooth design, as I mentioned, the 20 for $20, $20, 20 minutes. We offer, and this is important, I think this slide right here, we offer a full zirconia milled and centered. So this would be if you have your own in-office lab, or if you're just completely adamant you have to use your world-class technician near your clinic, no problem there. We'll mill that zirconia arch out for you for $600. We'll mill a highly aesthetic milled and center restoration that Dr. Mugleston will be showing you for $999 that you'll get back in 5 days. Or if you have your Beverly Hills 90210 patient that comes to your door and you have to have this extra very high aesthetic finish for $1,500, we'll get that arch to you. However, we mill out dozens and dozens every day of this $999 arch, which is incredible. Doctors are certainly blown away by the cost and by the high quality of the aesthetics. From our single unit implant crowns, we will mill these out for you. Actually, most implant companies, as you probably heard, had a price increase this year. We're actually taking this implant crown milled and centered down to $49 for your offices, and you would finish it yourself, characterize it. For $110, including shipping. Again, no bait and switch. These are all include design, include shipping costs right to your door. 110 fully beautiful zirconia restoration, like you saw with Dr. Dunlop's case there for $110. The middle of the road, this would be your high aesthetic layered for $160. And then the highest end, again, this would be your Jennifer Lopez tooth number 7 for $180 that comes in your office. Key also to note here that we will mill those zirconia arches on any implant system for you as a TRI matrix user. So rest assured that we can flat cost those fees for you. If you inherit a Nobel case, a Neodent case, any case for that matter, we will certainly mill it for you at that price with the highest quality right to an MUA. As I mentioned, we're a full service milling center in Orange County, California. We are FDA approved. Very few labs in America are FDA approved. We're one of them. We'll mill out any custom abutment and crown that walks in your door. You have to restore after you've switched to our company for $199. If you need a single tooth Onyx temporary, like I mentioned, include shipping, $85 to your door by 10:30 in the morning. If you needed your Sprint Ray printer or any printer you have that goes down and breaks, or you don't have one, no worry, we'll deliver those beautiful teeth to you for $175 the next business day. If you need a night guard, we call it implant guards on an arch or on a crown. Those are $79 to you. And your full monolithic zirconia crowns, this is your run-of-the-mill standard crown, high aesthetic for $99. And if you need to drop a titanium bar in your arch, that's additional $999. And we also offer a 10-year warranty on everything here. We guarantee everything. We guarantee the highest quality, and I think you'll be blown away. So quickly here, before I turn over Dr. Mugleston here, let's calculate your profitability here. I encourage you to scan this QR code with your phone here. If you're not on, if you're watching this on your phone, don't worry. We can certainly get this to you. I highly encourage everybody just to do this 5-minute exercise. Scan that QR code, calculate your savings and profitability. Do yourself a favor. It's important to know return on investment. Every other implant company is telling you, what is my implant cost? But they're certainly forgetting about what it takes from A to Z to place that implant and certainly restore it. And certainly Dr. Muggleson will also touch on time here. But this is a key element. I believe we're the best competitive offering with the highest quality in all of implant dentistry. So I'll just quickly escalate or escape here my presentation screen and show you here just a brief example here of a single tooth calculation here. When you scan this, you get to see this. Just for this purposes, I put our implant at $200 with the cost of our screw at $25. We know there's no custom there. We know every healing abutment with TRI is customized and free of charge. We know our implant crowns that are highly aesthetic are $110. It includes the design. So the worst case scenario, we're restoring that tooth at this scenario here for $335 or under. And then I compare it to maybe a discounted implant player in the market here, putting the implant at $170, actually less. This would be a posterior restoration, not an anterior tooth. We'll be even more competitive here with the anterior cases. But on a posterior restoration, maybe we're putting the healing abutment at $20, taking the glide well price of a custom abutment and crown at $349, and a total cost of $539 a case. So as we see in that scenario, we're saving $40,000 at a 200 single tooth throughout a year. And as we take it to full arch scenario here, let's call it 5 arches a month on a scenario like this. Again, keeping everything else constant here at the implant price of a traditional all-on 4. We see rose and screw costs. We also we have the best pricing with Sprint Ray for your Onyx Tough, so contact us for that. And we see an average cost of a full arch at roughly $2,500. We know some doctors I see quite frequently in the field are paying $5,000. Some are paying $3,500. Some are paying $2,500. But we have a multi-unit cost. We have a design cost. And on a scenario of only 5 arches a month, it's $127K in savings, and argue a better product for a better price. But once again, I highly encourage everyone to certainly do that exercise. And also, if you're a QR code, please, this is in lieu of Dr. Mugleston, so thank you, Dr. Mugleston, for this offering here. I also encourage you to scan that QR code. And if you buy a simple, very small 25 implant starter bundle for you, we will comp your entire prosthetic case. So if you needed 6 implant crowns, we'll do that for you. If you needed a double arch all on X from design to zirconia finals, we will cover that cost for you, start to finish. We will also do it for you if you had a case pending right now to put instant cash in your wallet. We'll do it on your competitor case for you too. In most cases, we'll pay if your entire starter bundle, as well as put a couple grand back in your wallet. So please take advantage of this. This expires in the next week. So please scan that code, enter your information, and that will be good for a free voucher for you. And all that takes is simply a small starter package or more or greater at $6,875. We'll put 25 implants. We'll tool you everything up free of charge, all your scan buddies, all your screws, your prosthetic kit, your tooling. You'll be good to go. And we also have, if you buy 100 implants from us, we will also put a free 3D printer in your office, a whole entire setup from Sprint Ray. You'll also get the best training. One of our clinical doctors on staff was the head of clinical affairs at Sprint Ray, so he'll take good care of you chairside, onboard you, so you know how to use it right away. And that's also something I like to say is we're also a consultation type company as well. We have multiple doctors on staff that parachute in, they take care of you, they're there with your first case, and everything goes smooth. I'll pass it over now to Dr. Mugleston, but here is my information. Again, my name is Chris Luter. Here is my email address. Here is my cell phone. It's attached to my hip 24/7. We have a great sales team that will take care of you, clinical doctors, support staff, operation managers. If you're on Instagram, feel free to add me at Luder2323. And I will stop sharing my screen here. Thank you very much. Maybe some of you have some questions at the end, but I will pass it over to the really man you want to hear, Dr. Cody Mugleston.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Are you guys controlling the slides for me?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, good to be here, guys. And again, I'm here for a really main reason to kind of look at it from a perspective of a practice owner. I know that I know quite a few of you, or a couple of you in this office, in this lecture. And the most interesting thing is, over the 13 years I've been practicing and all these practices and training doctors in all different states that I've offices. For me, it was this system was really simplified and it eliminated a lot of problems. And really the biggest thing was the ROI that I received from using and switching to the system. I had spent 5 years with Nobel and placing Nobel, and then the past 7 years with Neodent and using that system. So I restored Strawman and Astra and you name it. But what I really found was a lot of our systems I noticed were not evolving. And, I'm looking at implants the same implants that I've seen for Nobel for 10 plus years, not evolving. And that can't be possible. So there's got to be ways that we can simplify workflows, digital workflows, and better restorations at a lower cost for a quicker turnaround time. And that's why, for me, TRI became an instant win-win. So I'm going to go through a little bit about kind of what those things are. So let's go to the next one. This is just a little about me, but mostly, yes, I've been with Pacific Dental and operate 20 plus practices, and I've done some consulting in some of our different markets, as well as I've sat on the dental advisory board and founded the dental advisory board for SprintRay. So I know a lot about 3D printing as well, and I've consulted with them to help launch some of their newer products that you guys may have seen, and the Midas and all of those things. So this system works so well hand in hand, and obviously I didn't even know they were packaging a deal for 100 implants to get another printer. So I may actually jump on that too, Chris. But that's a great way to get started if you're looking to do both things together. And they work in harmony. But one thing that I will mention is that if you do not have a 3D printer in your practice, you do not require one to utilize the system or get advantage from switching to the system. It's not a necessity, if you will. The other great part about it was I didn't require photogrammetry. I had considered buying one or investing in some because of the number of arches I do. And I wanted to test this product without using one, as most of my practices all have CEREC and prime scans in every office. So I wanted to see if I could start to finish do this with the prime scan with the quality that I would expect from any type of final all-on-4, all-on-X that I did. So I'll be sharing an all-on-X case and what I learned from it and why I instantly knew I was going to make the full switch over. Go ahead and go to the next one. So first and foremost, the transition to TRI was very simple. The surgical workflow was very, very easy. It was similar to what I had seen with Nobel and Neodent. Very, very obvious. They had everything in order. Arrows pointing to it's a step-up approach, and you size up as you get wider and wider with your implant. And they even do the pilot drills are actually the drills that get your depth cut. And then all remaining drills are simply for width. They don't end cut. So you don't have to run the risk of going too deep or deepening your osteotomy when going to try and place your implant. You only have to worry about the size and its engagement with the bone. Customizable lengths and widths, just like all implant systems, but there are quite a few. There's an extensive number if you want to get, if you have very narrow placement, or you have to be very conscious of sinuses or things like that, which in this case will show one that we had to avoid the sinus on one side. Depths and size of the internal screws can also be customizable, as there's different screws you can use for different situations. And angulated screw channels, as Chris said, I had my concerns about how am I going to do a 30-degree angulation, and this is just supposed to fit right in, and how is it going to look? Are they going to have access holes on my facial aspect of my restoration? So I was very concerned, as I had only used mini abutments and 30-degree taper abutments and things to make my adjustments for my surgeries. And I found that it fit like a glove and was fantastic. And it was probably by far the easiest all on floor I'd ever placed. Quick, less visits, and that's why I definitely know this is future for my practice. We'll move to the next slide. For me, as a multiple practice owner, right? My main office is a $7 million practice. You don't hear that very often. Has 6 GPs full-time, and all place implants and are trained in full arch dentistry. And so for me, ROI is absolutely essential when you're talking about that kind of volume. The ROI was seen on every one of these aspects to me, right? The fact that they had digital lab services and design services was critical. I've worked with a lot of labs. Most of them at this point have digital lab services, but a lot of them struggle between different scanners or updates with say Prime Scan, and the lab doesn't have the updates. So they have some issues with getting the right kind of angulations or some distortions. They customize with Try. Their lab out of Orange County was just dynamite. Whenever there's a discrepancy, we get on the phone and have a discussion about what other scan they may need, or if they need another image or another angle or something comes out. So pretty good at communication. Again, this works with or without a 3D printer. You could lower your costs and speed things up if you want them to design and have them print a provisional same day. So you could place your implants and have a provisional placed in one visit. And that can be very, very valuable. However, if you don't have that or don't have that ability, they can go ahead and have it turned around if you can get the scans by 1 p.m., they'll have a provisional sent to you overnight, and it'll be ready by next day that can be delivered. So you don't have to have a 3D printer to really get a 24-hour restoration end result. Their lab prices, as you guys have seen, I don't know about you guys, but have smashed every single lab that I've ever worked with. Even when using Nobel and Mawa and having a great partnership with Pacific Dental Services Health, these lab prices even beat that by a significant amount. And I'll share some of those actual real numbers with you next. And then rapid rate of shipping. I can get a 24-hour provisional, right? Overnighted. I can get a final zirconia milled in 5 days. If I have any scanned implant system, I can get a screw retained crown in 3 days. And currently I'm waiting 10 business days in most cases with a lot of labs. And so the timing of that and the speed at which they do it and don't charge me rush fees or anything like that is paramount for my patients. Absolutely. So here's a little bit about my practice and my practice analysis. Again, it's a $7 million practice. We see high volume, roughly 150 crowns per month is an average. When switching to the system and using their lab, now my lab costs and saved roughly $7,500 a month. With implants, say we do about 40 per month, we're saving $1,200 in implant costs. And then arches, we're doing 3 to 5 arches, give or take, per month, saving another 15 to 25K. where we were getting $5,000 to $6,000 lab charges for our arches, now doing them for $999. It's just unmatched. It's unmatched by any other company that I've worked with thus far. So here's an all-on-4 case I'm going to share with you. Again, to do this, we did scan. I went ahead and placed my scan body impression copings. We used the 3D bridge markers, right? So we placed the impression bridge into the different impression copings, and then I used a little bit of flowable to connect those implant bridges for the impression. That way they didn't move when my assistant was scanning the case and the arch. We then have a prime scan STL file, which we sent in to the lab. We were able to do a same day 3D printed provisional that could be made in office. Again, you can do a 24-hour delivery of a fabricated provisional. I decided to use their lab services for this case because I wanted to test them, see how good they were, see if the quality was there up to my standards. And then this is a 5-day milled, and then you could do a 5-day milled zirconia fixed arch, which is what you'll see. Had them design it and custom finish it. And then, of course, if you use single units, they'll do a 3-day custom screw retained crown. So this is just a video for you to see of what the system looks like. Very similar to ones you've seen before. If you play it again, you'll see just you've got your lance, your pilot drills, and then it just steps up from left to right, depending on what size, and tells you where to stop. Very, very simple, very similar to anything that we've used for other systems. And this was my case. So this particular patient had a drug history, a young guy in his late 30s, white male, healthy in general besides his drug history, just had a newborn and was like, look, I have worked hard. I'm VA patient. I saved a lot of money. I want to have this custom done by you guys. I didn't want to go to the VA. I'm having a bunch of trouble getting things approved. And he wanted to do a full arch solution. And so this is kind of some of the intraorals of the upper arch. And this is some of the CT scans, just to have you guys get an idea of some of the challenges I had with sinus issues, infections, broken teeth, somewhat collapsed posterior that we had to reconstruct, impacted, obviously central, lot of different challenges with this case, but he was very, very adamant that I'm ready to be done with them all. I'm prepared. I want them all removed, and I want a full arch option. So this is following after the surgery was completed. Implants were placed, and it had healed for approximately 3-4 months. And then on the next photo over, we see that's the impression copings placed. I didn't get a photo of the impression bridge and the tabs placed, but again, we saw that on the last presentation by Chris. So they're placed to connect to those. Obviously, you see I have a lot of angulation on the upper left posterior. And so that is my most angled implant to avoid a sinus issue. It was getting very difficult. So we wanted to keep AP spread appropriate. And so we went ahead and placed angulated bridge, those impression bridge tabs. There are some of them that are angled that'll upright it to reach the next one over. So I had to custom angle that one and then connect them with flowable so they stayed in place. And then I simply scanned the whole case with my prime scan, no photogrammetry, scan the upper arch, scan the lower arch. I went ahead and scanned it without any of the impression copings, just so they had everything possible. And then I also scanned it with his, at the time he had a full denture for a while because he had some major issues with bone healing. And so I had to wait. So we actually, while that was healing, I went ahead and kind of established video using that. And then we took STL scans of that So the lab had something to baseline where they wanted to kind of set the teeth. And then this is kind of what we get back. This is actually another case that I took a photo of just so you could see one up close for the finish and the quality of the finish. I'll show you also the ones that I got for his actual case. So we'll go to the next one. Here's the x-rays of, you know, where I started and where we ended, implants placed, and the final restoration screwed and placed. And then this is the outcome that we received. Great restoration. He was absolutely ecstatic about it. You know, when I removed the healing abutments, went ahead and placed it. It locked right into all 4 of the remaining implants. We lost 1 implant along the way due to infection. He said that he was kind of messing around with it to see how hard they were, and he thinks he loosened it up. I don't know. But we did place extra implants just in case, but we have 4 remaining. So this was the arch when it was delivered. One discrepancy and challenge I had with his case is he had a severely broken nose when he was abroad. And so basically aligning the midline was probably my biggest challenge here. And so we actually were able to use the provisional to kind of determine where he wanted it. And, you know, unfortunately where I want it is not exactly where he wanted it, but he's like, well, my nose goes off this way, but I want it more in line with kind of the center of my eyes. And I don't really want it to, I've always had it just slightly to the left, and I kind of want it that way. So we had to rescan and resend the provisional scanned in the mouth for them to make some adjustments to the teeth. And he loved the final restoration, even though I felt it was a little off and wanted to redo it. But him and his wife, they said, no, this is how they wanted it done. So had him sign off, and that was the end of the case. He's come back for 1 adjustment and no issues, no challenges with the case. He's had, hasn't had any rubbing, pain, movement. Checked the implants, they were all stable, no loosening of the screws. And all in all, really, really good outcome. And we'll move to the next slide. And just so you can see a little bit of the CT for the placement of the implants, just to get an idea, and kind of the close proximity I had with the sinus. Perfect. And you can see his broken nose there from the past. Took a little video just so you could kind of see, you know, they did a great job at angulating, these angled, this up to 30-degree angulation. I had my concerns, I did, and no problems. The angulated screw went right in, dropped right into place, kind of goes in, and then you kind of had to wiggle it a little bit to get it up and around the pass, and it kind of turns a corner and drops right down into place, and then use the angulated driver to get it screwed down fully, and then just went ahead and closed it. This is a video of the bite. And this is him all finished and done.
What a great case.
Fantastic outcome. Really, really great guy. Really, really loved the outcome, the feel. Loved getting away from any kind of denture, even loved it more than the provisional, of course, but he was so happy with the provisional. He's like, can I just keep this? I swore up and down, trust me, like the final better, which he agreed. He loves the final even better. And again, you know, I have Sprint Ray. I love Sprint Ray. I'm huge with that. And I believe that organization is masterful at what they do. And so this is very compatible with that as well. If you want to mill some of these arches in office to give them same day solutions, but absolutely fantastic outcome and simplified use. One of the biggest things about this case was the fact that it decreases the number of visits. And I think that sometimes we don't realize that, you know, I don't know if you guys are as crazy as I am about ROI and cost, but I know exactly how much it costs every time I set up a chair. Roughly costs me about $26 to $32 per chair setup for every patient, no matter what. Every time a patient has a 1 hour appointment set up between my office, my assistant, the call, any call centers, receptionists, all of the time necessary, roughly $142 per 1 hour appointment. So this eliminated many of the appointments regarding a jig, regarding any kind of extra impressions. I didn't have to come back to reset teeth. Everything was done streamlined in roughly, once I had the implants in, it was 3 visits with 1 more visit to do some adjusting. So pretty great outcome, eliminated about half the visits I'm used to. And absolutely why I'm switching all of my offices to it currently. So I appreciate you guys at least taking a look at this. I think it's by far the most cost-effective system I've ever seen. Best digital workflow I've ever seen. And with all the systems I've tested for Pacific Dental Services and all the boards that I've sat on and looked at, and we've really addressed all possible issues and challenged the system and tried to push it to see what it could do and what it couldn't do. Even like Chris showed that 70-degree, really tested what the system can do. And by far, there is nothing like the patent that this system has to eliminate abutments and allow for a stronger connection between crown and implant without having to use any sort of cementation or extra parts. It's undeniable. And I appreciate you guys the time. And if you have any questions or anything like that, please reach out to me. My Instagram is Dr. Cody 702, DRCODY 702. And Chris can probably share my information, but happy to answer any questions if you guys need. Chris is, you know, president of Try USA. He's the bigwig running everything in the United States and really has done a fantastic job with this system and testing it and getting it out there on the market to the right people. And it's the reason why it's really taking over the industry, and it's going to far surpass the big players that we know of as of now by far.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugleston. Well presentation. Thank you very much for your insights. And right now we'll open up to anybody. I see my good friend, Dr. Shaw from Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for joining, my friend. I answered a couple of these in the chat for you, but maybe any other questions that come in that for Dr. Mugleston or myself, feel free to fire away. Maybe as you're typing, we'll give it just a couple minutes here. But if I don't see anything come in here, then thank you again very much for attending tonight's webinar with TRI Dental Implants and Dr. Mugleston. I believe everybody has my contact information. Certainly as there's Dr. Mugleston's cell phone that he posted there in the chat, which is 480-703-5655. Certainly I know he works very well with text messaging. And there's his Instagram handle at drcody702. And we hope you take advantage of our incredible offering here, get it in your hands, and we're confident you'll be a believer for life here with TRI Dental Implants. So if I don't see any other questions come in.
One last thing I'd like to add, Chris. So when I've switched implant companies many times, as you know, depending on, you know, where I believe the best ROI quality is at. And when I made the switch over and I discussed with Chris, he gave me the same offer. You know, go ahead, purchase 25 implants, get your implant inventory the way you need. And I think 25 implants is minimum for the volume at my office, what I need. So we had to order a lot more than that. But we ordered what we needed. He sent me the surgical kits necessary for free. I didn't pay for any of that. They were all comped. And that's a huge savings. We all know that. And had them all put together, had a couple I asked for a couple calls. Hey, can I have somebody get on the call, walk me through step by step. He had not only did he have one of the big reps, but he had another doctor that's on their clinical side for the company. Get on the call, sit through it with me, walk me through the armamentarium, show me how to do it the right way, make sure that any questions were answered. I texted him just a few little things, because all implant systems have nuances. We know that, little things that are different than others. Walked me through those things that he said, hey, try this, try this. All his tricks and tips worked well for the system. Tried and true, haven't had any problems since. And then another thing that you guys may be running into that I'm seeing everywhere is the lack of support from a lot of these implant systems through their reps, through their communication. It's been really bad. I don't know if you guys are noticing what I've noticed, but I have 2 different implant companies, not going to say who, I don't want to badmouth, that's not what I'm here for, but have changed their reps at least 3 times on me this year. They cannot keep their staff. They cannot, I'm literally talking to a new person. I say, hey, I need this, that, and the other thing. They don't even know what the parts are yet. They're not trained. I mean, I felt like the quality of my reps, their value, and my importance to them really diminished in the last 2 years. Since COVID, it's been bad. I've seen a lot of downsizing, and I felt as if, for me, that was a major decision in me deciding I'm not getting the help that I want. And if there's better out there with a quality system and better service and better fees, I'll switch in a heartbeat, because I was so frustrated. And lo and behold, here came TRI. We had some meetings. I got to speak with them. And with 20 practices and just in the main office, 6 docs, but right, I have over 100 doctors that work within our organization, within my offices alone. And if I can't get anywhere, right, with getting the implants I need and getting service and getting the support I need, I don't know how any doctor could, because my account is a large account. And so I felt like they did an exceptional job at recognizing I have all these different partners and different offices in different states. Every time I set up all my doctors, they did the exact same thing for each one. Each doctor had the same kind of attention. They walked them through the case. They explained how we can order it over time so that it didn't have to break a budget. And my lab savings thus far have dropped 3.5% on average. 3.5% for a $7 million practice is roughly $250,000. That is a massive change for my business and allows me to grow, spend that money on marketing, opening up another office or a new region. So give them the opportunity, talk to them, get some knowledge base behind it, do your research for sure, and talk, ask the questions that are necessary. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. I wouldn't be on this call if I didn't put my name behind it and believe it. That's just honest truth and how I feel. And I know that I have a lot of spotlight and people asking me what I do and where I'm switching and things, just like when I started with Sprint Rain, it was brand new and people were wondering why I was going that direction. There's a reason, and you have to follow innovation. You have to follow patents, people that are doing things that are changing the game. And this is the most innovative implant system I have seen in the last 10 years by far. So hope that can answer some questions and kind of bring more light to the whys behind my decision.
Well said, Dr. Mugleston. Very, very, thank you for your support for sure.